Today, I'm going to give you a great tip for how to create a really good and targeted setup statement. This is something that a lot of people have problems with, I think. Trying to create a setup statement when they're going to tap that's really effective and targets in specifically on their issue. And so there's like a really quick hack that I learned a long time ago. It's really easy to do. So what I want you to do is get out a piece of paper and a pen, okay? So get that first. And then I want you to think about what your issue is, okay? So let's just say you have a specific pain in your body. We'll just use pain, for example. Let's just say you have a pain in your head, okay? And so you know that already, like that part's easy. I've got this pain in my head, a headache, but I don't know what to tap on, right? Okay, start with that. I have a headache, and then go ahead and fill in the blank. So you can either just fill in the blank with what intuitively comes after I have a headache or you can actually ask a specific question, like, I have a headache and it makes me feel blank, okay? So whichever one you want to use, it doesn't matter, whichever intuitively feels better for you. It's probably going to be more effective if you can find the feeling around the headache and tap on that first, if you're able to do that. So if your headache's just so bad you can't even come up with a setup statement, I recommend that you use 9-Gamut. And there is a video in this YouTube channel on 9-Gamut, a couple. Search them, 9-Gamut, G-A-M-U-T. So try to just interrupt the pattern of the headache first if it's so overwhelming that you can't use the setup statement. But if you're able to use a setup statement or you're using some other kind of pain or problem, go ahead and see if you can get to the feeling. So I have knee pain and it makes me feel blank. I have a stomach ache and it makes me feel blank. And just let the answer be simple. Don't try to overthink it. Let it intuitively come out of you. Let it like flow out of you as you write it. Even if you have to pause for a moment and wait for the answer to come, just write what comes in. So let's just say you said, I have a headache and it makes me feel frustrated, okay? That's just the way it makes you feel. All right, let's start with that. So your setup statement would be, even though I feel frustrated about this headache, I would add that in because the more specific you can get, the better. So even though I feel frustrated about this headache, and then use a classic end part of a setup statement where you're basically going to introduce an opposite or contradictory statement. Even though I'm frustrated about this headache, I accept this is how I feel right now. So there's acceptance. Even though I'm frustrated about this headache, I might consider loving myself anyway. You could try that one. And if that feels okay to you, go ahead and say it. And then, even though I'm frustrated about this headache, I'm willing to forgive myself for having this headache. Or I'm willing to forgive this headache. So you see, we've got love, acceptance, and forgiveness all wrapped up in those 3 setup statements. Now, if those don't work for you, maybe you don't feel like loving, accepting, or forgiving anything. How about this? Even though I'm frustrated about this headache, I'm willing to consider I might not always feel this way. That could be different. Even though I'm frustrated about this headache, I choose to allow myself to feel frustrated. So sometimes the resistance against the feeling makes it even worse. So just let yourself feel it. Even though I'm frustrated about this headache, I'm willing to experience what it would be like without the headache. So give that a try. Just play around with your setup statement if you want. I mean, really, you can't do it wrong. So the key is getting as specific as you can and trying to find the feeling around it. Now, if you're one of those people that's like, I can't ever find my feelings, right? I can't ever find my feelings. There's a video on this YouTube channel also about how to tap when you don't know how you feel. So you can search that one too. Now, let me just give you a little example of what you would do on the rounds here. So after you did your setup statement, let's just say I'm frustrated about this headache and I'm willing to consider what it might be like without the headache. Then you can just say something really simple like, this frustration, or I'm so frustrated with this headache is frustrating, and just go ahead and say like a really similar phrase or the same exact phrase all the way through the points. And then go ahead and come back to the side of the hand before you do another round. And you don't have to do another setup statement, but you can just say it again. So I have this frustration, this headache, and sometimes you might find that as you do one round and you come back to the side of the hand, you may get more information. You may get a little more details about the feeling. So even though I'm frustrated about this headache, and it's actually now I feel sad about it. Maybe a new aspect comes up. It's okay to shift to the new aspect. I'm feeling sad about this headache. Now, you don't necessarily have to do a new setup statement. You can just go on and tap in about the sadness. And if you don't get any new information, just keep tapping. You can also say things like, I'm willing to release whatever this frustration is about. You don't even have to know. Or I'm willing to release this headache so I don't have to feel frustrated. Or maybe even I'm willing to feel frustrated without the headache, and see what would happen if you didn't have a headache. Would you still feel frustrated? Because you'll find, guys, that sometimes the headache or the pain or whatever it is actually your subconscious trying to create a certain chemistry in your body that gives you a feeling. So if you have a tendency to be addicted to frustration, meaning like your system's so used to being frustrated that you subconsciously seek it out. Unfortunately, we as human beings, we do this. Then you may create a headache because you know a headache, you as in your subconscious, knows a headache is going to frustrate you. So you may, again, want to look around the connection between the frustration and the headache or the pain or whatever it is. Okay? So again, tapping on releasing, tapping on just the pain or problem itself. As you go around, don't overthink it. And then when you're done with your rounds, and just be done when you feel done. Again, don't overthink that either. Just decide, okay, I've done enough. I've done 3 rounds. I feel better. Go ahead and come to the top of the head, and you can go ahead and wrap it up with a nice affirmation like, I deeply and completely release the need for this frustration now. Take a deep breath. Put your hands on your heart if you like. Check in, and if you had a SUDS level before, you can check in on it after. If you didn't, just kind of test and see, do I still feel frustrated? How's the headache? And then if you want to keep tapping, you can. If not, move on with your day and just say, I've done enough. I've done enough. I hope that is helpful to you today. Please feel free to leave any comments below. Reach out to me there, and I will be happy to reply. Have a beautiful day. Namaste, my friends.